Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started, and we want to begin by thanking you for coming out on such a rainy night to join us to learn a little bit about JCIB, the Jefferson County International Baccalaureate School. I'm Lori Lightsey. I'm head of school, which is actually just a principal. It's the same thing. And to my left is Dr. Michael Cloninger. He is assistant principal. Then we have Miss Lauren Brown. She's the MYP Middle Years Coordinator. And then we have Dr. Miller. She is the DP, that's the Diploma Program Coordinator. They'll all be speaking with you tonight because they have a lot of information and a lot of years of experience in the world of IB. We get started with a couple of questions. We normally do this differently, but I'm just going to plow through it. When these ladies go out to schools, they go to every fifth grade class, not every class, but every school. They speak to every fifth grader in Jefferson County each year during this time. Would you raise your hand if your student told you about them and they told you they wanted you to come here tonight? Yeah, that's very good. Thank you for going home and telling your parents that. So they go around and speak to every student, which is very important because we want the students to be excited about the idea of coming to JCIB, and they need the information in order to make that decision. They begin with these questions for students. Look at those. Do you like to learn? Do you want to make our world a better place? Do you plan to go to college after high school? And do you enjoy a challenge? Those are the questions that are put out there. And then, click the button, they go from there sharing information. Most kids as fifth graders answer affirmative to those 4 questions. So those are the students that we hope to lure to our school. We want to recruit those students who are interested in those things. As they share information, we like to share this little bit of information because we're proud of it. Last year, we were nominated, or we won the National Blue Ribbon recognition. There are 4 schools from each state that are recognized each year, and we were in the middle school category, in the achievement category, which means you can be in achievement or you can be in growth, and our students perform really, really well on most assessments. So that was a recognition we're proud of. You can only win that every 5 years, so we're looking forward to about 4 years from now because we're going after it again. So that's something that we're proud of. Many of you may know, or you may not know, that right now this building is being built in Fultondale. This building will replace this school and the wing that we have at Shades Valley High School, where our 9th through 12th grade currently resides. So in fall of next year, and there's no firm month or date or time, but in fall of 2025, it's projected that this building will be finished up. At that time, or soon thereafter, 6th through 12th grade students will all go to the same school. So this campus and the other campus will no longer be where we are. We will then have our own campus in Fultondale, right next to the Fultondale High School that was just recently completed last year. So we're very excited about that. Being on one campus is something we've all been looking forward to for close to a decade now. So that happening is a really wonderful feeling. So you're here to learn what is JCIB? Why is it something different than what my child might normally experience in a school? Well, we are a school that follows this mission. If you're an IB school, this is your mission. It is, we attract academically, usually advanced or students who are just interested in academics and eager to do work, who like school and perform well and enjoy those tasks that come along with being a good student. But it's not all about just being a smart kid. That's a good thing, but it's about a lot of other things. And this mission really tells you who we are. Our kids know our mission, and that's not always true. Every school or organization has a mission. A lot of people don't particularly know what it is, but our kids do know because we use these words when we're talking with our students. So I'm going to read them to you. The IB develops inquiring, knowledgeable, and caring young people who help to create a better and more peaceful world through education that builds intercultural understanding and respect. So part of our name is International, the Jefferson County International Baccalaureate. So our students know that what we do is we don't just think about our place where we're at locally. We think about the entire world. And as these people talk with you this evening, you'll see how that comes through what we're teaching. But we want students who realize that they're a member of the world, that they are, the world is huge. We're in one place, but as they grow, they realize that they can have impact on the world, and that's what we believe and want them to believe as well. One of the things that makes IB is that many of the things that we began in 6th grade in the middle years program, we continue those things through the 12th grade. We don't start something in 6th and then stop and act like it's not a thing anymore. The IB philosophy remains the same from 6th through 12th grade, and actually from kindergarten through 12th grade, because there are schools that are K through 5. These are the traits that we know if you speak to anyone in business, in academic world, anywhere, if a person possesses these traits, they're typically going to be a very good employee, a very good student, a very good citizen. So these traits are relatively universal. Being an inquirer, enjoying knowledge, gaining knowledge, being a thinker, a communicator, being principled and open-minded, caring, being a risk taker, balanced and reflective. Those we begin with students in the 6th grade all the way through the 12th grade. These never go away. Certainly the conversations change as a student matures, but that core message stays the same. So when you think about us being international, we want to make certain that our kids understand that we believe that they can make change in the world. And one of the places that we make a pretty easy connection to is the UN's sustainable goals. These are goals that the United Nations has for the world. And when I read a couple of them to you, you're going to think, oh yes, that's a good dream, but is it going to happen? For example, the first goal is no poverty. No poverty anywhere in the world is a goal. The second one, zero hunger. Zero hunger, that's a goal anywhere in the world. There's enough food on this planet for everyone to eat. That's fact. Third one, good health and well-being. Everyone have doctor care when they need it. We know those things aren't true right now, that there is hunger, there is poverty, and there are people who do not have health care. But our challenge is to make the world a better place. So if you don't have that as a goal, where are you going? That's a reasonable goal. Will it be reached? I hope it is someday. But if it's not, I would like to be one of the people who's working toward it being true one day. This is Dr. Miller, DP Program Coordinator.
And quiz master. So, pop quiz, and this is not the same quiz for those of you who were in the 5th grade classrooms. We've jazzed it up. All right, so I'm going to show you 3 questions, and don't shout it out. Just take a second, and if you've got answers, we'll look at those in a second. Pop quiz. So, what sport has the highest youth participation? How many television sets are in the average household? And at what age does the average person acquire an automobile? And if there are brave risk takers in the audience who would like to give a guess, yes. You what? Okay. Yes? I'm sorry, what did you say? Soccer for participation, okay? Yes? Football? 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 Football again? Okay. Soccer, all right. So we've got football and soccer for sports. Yes? Basketball, okay. Second question. Average number of TV sets in a household? TVs? 3 or 4? Which one? 3. 2. 2. 0. 3. 2. Okay, and the last one. What age does the average person acquire an automobile? Let's see if we can find people who have not yet spoken. 20. 17. 18. 19. Okay, those are great answers. There was one correct answer in all of those. Maybe two. Okay, but when we talk to the students in the 5th grade classrooms, we talk about the fact that we are about learning. We are about learning, and it may look differently in IB than it does in other places. So we may not just talk about, although we will for time's sake, because Ms. Lightsey has told me I can't go on and on tonight. We don't just say, this is the right answer, go to the next thing. We talk about the questions. We talk about the answers. We talk about how we came up with the answers so that we get a better understanding of the connections of what's going on. So, what sport has the highest youth participation? Okay, so yeah, soccer's on there, and I found different sources, and I got different answers, so I put all 3 of them up there. So it's either soccer, field hockey, or badminton. Okay? All right, the average number of TV sets in a household. That was one of our correct answers, 0. And the average age at which someone acquires an automobile? Never. Now, for the students who have already seen the other version of this, what 3 words were left out of these questions? In the world. What's the average number of TV sets in the household in the world? In the world. Put in the world at the end of all of those, and it's going to change. Now, that may be thought of as a trick question then. But what we want to do is help get the students thinking bigger and broader. Start with us, but move it out. All right. So what if we consider, from an international perspective?
Thank you, Dr. Miller. So, if you know anything about us, you probably know that we're the Smart Kids School. And we certainly do have a lot of very intelligent students. As Ms. Lightsey mentioned, our National Blue Ribbon Award. We also scored a 99 on our state report card. And last year, we're ranked number 1 in middle schools for the state of Alabama. This year, number 2. But, we're so much more than just a Smart Kids School. And a lot of what Ms. Brown and Dr. Miller will talk to you about this evening kind of addresses that. So before we dig into all those details, we wanted to put 4 categories up here for you to look at that really defines who we are as a school. Number 1 is real world. Oftentimes, students can ask the question to their teacher, why do I need to know this? What our teachers attempt to do is always contextualize the information so that the meaning and the reason for why they're learning what they're learning is built in, and it's very intentional. Number 2, we do have high expectations. What's interesting about the high expectations is that we also have high levels of support. And our goal when we get a student, your child, for example, is to keep that child. We want your child to be successful, and so we support them to the very best of our ability. Number 3, this is what you don't know about us unless you have a student who's been here. If you walk throughout the inquiry night hallways, you saw robotics, you saw a lot of hands-on projects, a lot of collaboration. That's true even at the high school level as well. We are very holistic. Our goal is to work both sides of the brain. So Ms. Lightsey talked about balance being one of those learner profiles. We don't just want book nerds. We want book nerds who also can balance that out with things that are personalized to them, that draw them in, that make them happy. So we'll talk about clubs and all those activities as well. Lastly, and I think most importantly, We're trying to develop thoughtful learners. We want our people to be good human beings. So when Ms. Lightsey says make the world a more peaceful place, we're trying to build that intentionally through approaches to teaching and approaches to learning skills and through service experiments that Ms. Brown will talk about to help students understand their role in the world and how their kindness can make the whole world actually a better place.
Good evening. I am Lauren Brown. I'm the Middle Years Program Coordinator. I'm going to talk to you about that for a moment. So the MYP, the Middle Years Program here in America, and really we think of middle school as grades 6 through 8. But to IB, that younger adolescent, we would line up with grades 6 through 10. So actually right now, our MYP years 1 through 3 are here at this campus at Pleasant Grove, and our MYP 9 and 10 go on and continue at Shades Valley High School. And those first 2 years of high school for us are still considered middle school in the eyes of IB. So I got to ask, I saw a lot of hands go up when Ms. Lightsey asked, so I need a hand to go up. I need some student to tell your parents what I call, you look excited. What do I call this? Go ahead. Your hand went up. I was looking at him. All right, I see one in the back there. You. It's the onion. So when we go and we talk to 5th graders, I talk about the fact that this picture right here, which lays out the middle years program model, is everything about what it means to be IB in an image. And we peel it back one layer at a time with them so that they can understand who we are, why we do what we do, and how we go after that mission. Okay, so I'm going to kind of start right here with our teaching and learning. Dr. Cloninger talked about that a moment ago, and you got to experience that a little bit with Dr. Miller. We are an inquiry-based school. Inquiry is the absolute bedrock of our instruction, okay? We also are trying to develop good humans, and Dr. Cloninger also said it is a broad and balanced curriculum. We're going to talk a little bit about how there's that gradual release of responsibility. And I really firmly believe that the IB does a great job of requiring things of students that end up making them better people in the end. All right, so let's talk about our core for just a moment. When we go to 5th grade classrooms and we talk about core being absolutely the center of something, core being your heart. And I like to say that the core is where we get our heart. There are 3 elements to the MYP core. Service is action, the community project, which we do in 8th grade, and the personal project, which we do in 10th grade. Service is absolutely part of our core. It's how we make the world a better place. Right now at the middle school, we facilitate service opportunities as field trips, and every student gets the opportunity to go off campus, see another part of Jefferson County, learn about other people, and help them. And we build that into our school day because we think it's important for the students to have those experiences, and it's important for the students to build on those experiences working towards that mission. After they've done that in 6th and 7th grade, they're ready to kind of take on an independent project. The community project is a service-based project that they do in the 8th grade. And then the personal project is, well, it's aptly named. It's a personal project that they do in 10th grade. They set a goal. It cannot be academic. They set a goal, and then they work towards that goal. Who in here remembers the solar-powered car? 5th graders, raise a hand. Who remember? Yeah, that was a personal project. Okay, so we watch a video with them when we go to the elementary schools, and they get to see that there was a girl. They had to set a goal, right? Something they're interested in that they wanted to learn about. We had a 10th grade girl that wanted to learn about engineering, and so she said, "I wonder if I can build a car. I just wonder if I can do that. If I can draw it out, schematics, do the engineering." do a car. I'm also interested in learning about solar energy. So can I make it a solar powered car? And she built a car that she turned on and off with a light switch. It didn't have a steering wheel. Instead, it was very rudimentary, but she steered it with her feet. And it's in our video. And we talk about it. And when it flashes up to the 5th grade, they're all like, oh, because it's so cool. But those are the types of independent learning projects and opportunities for growth that are embedded into the MYP and embedded into the IB, really all the way through the continuum, that help students grow as humans, grow as learners, and grow as citizens. Okay, we do have a broad and balanced curriculum. Now, the IB is European. We use the European spellings and things. So if you are to apply and be accepted, get used to seeing some funky spellings. No, it is not a typo when program has an ME on the end. Okay, we really meant to do that because that's how the IB spells it. And they also rename some of the subjects that we know. Okay, so all of our students in the MYP take everything that you would expect them to take. Okay, they take math and science, and guess what? Those don't get renamed with anything fun because they just are what they are. But ELA, or English as we call it, they call language and literature. Individuals and societies is what you would normally think of as a history class. And then all of our students take a foreign language, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a moment. In the MYP 1 through 3, so in what traditional middle school is what I'm going to call it, grades 6 through 8, students also have to take experiences in the arts. They take a class called design, and then all students take physical education. Those are all required. There's no flexibility in those. And I think it's because students at that age level are figuring out who they are. And so the IB says, you know what? For students to figure out who they are, they need to experience a little bit of everything. And then as they get older, we can give them choice. But if we give them choice right off the bat as an 11-year-old, they may miss out on things that they really would have liked, but they just never gave it a chance. So the MYP, when I said I think they really just do things smart, that's one of the things. All of these things are required in 1 through 3. And then once we get into grades 9 and 10, there's a little bit more flexibility. And then you'll hear there's a lot more flexibility once they get to the diploma program. Will you go back one more time, Dr. C? I want to say this to parents and to students. It is not what we learn that is different. Okay? If in 6th grade you're going to take U.S. history at Simmons Middle School or at McAdory Middle School or at the Altamont School, right, or any school, you're going to take that here. It's going to be U.S. history. We take the exact same classes. They are all ALSDE classes. They are all the classes that every middle schooler takes. It is exactly the same. It is exactly the same course of study. What is different is the how. We are an inquiry-based approach. We put it in real-world context. We want problem solving. So rather than just give you facts and say, give me these dates back, we say, here's a problem that happened throughout history. Grapple with this problem and try to come up with a solution. That's the inquiry model. You do the exact same thing. You just do it in a different way. And we are going for depth. We are going for our students to have experiences that lead to much deeper learning. So the what is the same, the how is different, parents and students. I want to make sure I say that. Okay, so key features of the MYP at JCIB. I said foreign language is required. Many of our students graduate with the seal of biliteracy. Our students do what's called a language carousel in 6th grade. So they come in, and we're trying not to subject you to it tonight, but the IB can be just a little bit of alphabet soup. We're big on the acronyms for everything. And so all 6th graders come in, and the first 9 weeks, they basically take an intro to IB class. Then for the subsequent 3 9 weeks, they take a test drive with French, German, and Spanish, which are the 3 languages that we offer. At the end of 6th grade, then make a determination on which one they want to study, and they study that one beginning in 7th grade all the way through 12th grade. We have students who are incredibly fluent in their languages by the time they leave 12th grade, and I might be stealing Dr. Miller's thunder, but we have students that walk into university and by the end of the first semester have a minor in a second language. We have students that once they go on and leave us, they travel abroad and they are very successful with that, and that is because we start that instruction in 6th grade. In 8th grade, students take their level 1 language. So if we're counting, that means in 8th grade, students earn a high school credit, either in French 1, Spanish 1, or German 1. Design is a uniquely MYP or IB class. I like to call it real world problem solving in action. Moms, dads, grandmas, any adults in the room, I want to ask you a question. How many days do you go into work and work is exactly what you thought it was going to be? Or do you run into problems every day? You walk in and every day is a challenge. Something's going to pop up. Guys, resilience is one of the best skills we can teach our kids, and design is all about that. It's process learning. I'm going to try to build something. Oops, my measurements were off. Oops, I didn't have enough materials. How do I scale it down to get it done? It's about either persevering through the issue or learning how to work around it. Probably the most applicable skills we will teach a student at all, period. And it is uniquely IB in the way that it's delivered, and it's something that we offer in our curriculum. Service learning, service is action. I've already talked to you about field trips. It is core to who we are. We also have our students take geometry in 8th grade so that they are prepared for the diploma program math. So they get a high school credit for that as well. So if you're keeping up, that's 2. Students that attend the middle school here with us, when they leave 8th grade, already have 2 credits on their high school transcript towards their high school graduation. And that is part of it's just built into our program and works with the requirements of IB.
Is that me? It's you. All right. Okay, so everybody says diploma program, and there's like this undertone of dun 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 music that goes with it. The diploma program is 11th and 12th grade. We are preparing for these things that we're going to do in 11th and 12th grade, starting in 6th grade. Approaches to learning, approaches to teaching, those skills that we need to have in order to be successful. Like Ms. Brown said, though, we're doing the same things that you would do at other high schools. So everything it takes to graduate from a public high school in Alabama, we accomplish, and we do more. One thing, Ms. Brown's already said that we've got 2 credits for students who start with us in the middle school and come over. We start in 9th grade with advanced placement courses, and JCIB just was awarded the Platinum Award and the AP Access Award from the College Board because of the fact that we have students who start in 9th grade taking AP exams, and that we have students who are earning qualifying scores on AP exams, and we are taking multiple exams. We're not all about exams, but when I said I was the quiz lady, there was something to that. So anyway, we do these groups again. We have language and literature, English. We have language acquisition, French, Spanish, or German, whatever we started at the middle school. For students who come to us in 9th grade and haven't had a course, we can set them up with one. Individuals and societies is history. Sciences, we have biology or environmental systems. Our students are very much trying to make the world a better place. Environmental science and systems is a very popular course. Mathematics, in order for our students to do well on IB and the exams that we take, we do pre-cal and cal. We don't call them that, but that's basically what it is, and that's what all the students are taking. And then we have electives, which are currently a wide assortment of courses, and we base those electives on what students are interested in. And so we have changed throughout the last 10 years a couple of times. The core NDP is a little different, but things that we start in 6th grade, we don't drop. So we start service in 6th grade, but we continue it throughout the entirety of their time with us. Theory of Knowledge is a class. I have to get my little cheat sheet out because I never think to do this. It is a class, it's like a philosophy class, but it's more than that. It's a metacognitive class. It connects all of those 6 courses together. And it's, how do we know what we know? Why do we think what we think? When students come back, this is one of the classes that they talk most fondly about because it's not like anything else. It is truly an IB thing. They do an exhibition, curate a museum exhibit, basically, at the end of their junior year. And in their senior year, they write an essay. So I just wanted to give you an example of the essays. This is from a couple of years ago. They get to choose, because IB is all about choice. They very much want students to say what they think and come up with their ideas. And they also want to give them an option of what is it that you want to talk about. So here was one. Are visual representations always helpful in the communication of knowledge? Discuss with reference to the human sciences and mathematics. So it's pretty focused, and the students will write 1,500 words, which is, a few pages, and respond to that prompt if they chose it. They have 7 to choose from, 6 or 7 each year, and they pick the one they feel best equipped to answer. But I don't ever remember getting a question like that when I was in high school or college to work on. It's a very different approach. It's not the what, it's the how. With the extended essay, and we're telling you this even if everybody in here is interested in starting in 6th grade, because we don't want you to wake up in 11th grade and go, I have to do what? So the extended essay is a 4,000-word paper on a topic that the student chooses and has incremental deadlines to meet. 4,000 words, in case you haven't written a paper in a while, it's about 20 pages. They write this as juniors and seniors. Now, you may think that's pretty daunting, and it can be, but they've been getting these skills since 6th grade, and I don't know that anybody said it, and if you did, I missed it, but we are preparing students for college. That is our goal. Students who have written a 4,000-word essay do not panic, usually, when they get into English and they're asked to return a 5-page paper in 3 days, because they know how to craft an argument. They know how to cite their sources. They know how to do the work and manage their time. And so this is very helpful and very useful. And then the last one, again, this is where service pops up again. Creativity, activity, and service. They do things continuing to make the world a better place. They also have what we call work study, where they go out one afternoon a week and they are volunteering at a location to see if what they think they want to study in college is really what they want to study. They explore their college and career ideals. Is it really what it looks like on Grey's Anatomy to work in a hospital? Is it, am I going to fit in at a law office? Is that the kind of work that I want to do? They get a very good understanding of what it is that's important so that you don't go off to college. I'm going to be a pediatrician. I really like kids. I don't like sick kids. Ooh, okay. It's better to have an idea about this before we start investing our money, because our goal, our students' goal, we're going to a 4-year college. I don't remember what, okay. So anyway, the next slide is about homework, because it may sound like there's homework involved, and there is. We have homework. We have age-appropriate amounts of homework. But the students have homework in high school almost every night. and they have some homework on weekends. We protect holiday time. We try to make sure if we find out that there's lots of homework taking up evening time, is it really being homework or is it playing on the phone? Because we understand one of those IB learner profile traits is balance. And we don't want a student to go home and work for 5 hours, regardless of the grade, because that's not balanced. And now I'm going to hand it to Ms. Leitze because she also likes to talk about that.
Homework is a part of IB, but it is developmentally appropriate. So if you've got a 6th grader, it's not unusual for a 6th grader to have about 60 minutes of homework 2-3 nights a week at the middle school level. It's not as much as it is at the high school. So the grade level times 10. So as they increase by grade, 60 minutes in 6th, 70 minutes in 7th, you see the pattern that's coming through there. By the time they're in the 9th grade, an hour and a half is not unusual. It may not be every single night based on how they manage their time and how they use their time. No student should spend every night of their life on 3 or 4 hours of homework. There will definitely be times when maybe they get behind, or there's a project, or they're into something that they want to do or they need to do. There'll be times like that, but that should not be the daily routine for one of our students. And if it is, then we need to look at what's going on. Our teachers are asked to use a calendar so that they can see what's been assigned, so that they don't pile work on students. I have them put their tests on the calendar so we know that kids aren't sitting for 4 exams, 4 tests on the same day. It's hard to prepare for that at any age, but we try to do those things to make it doable for students and not overstress them. But, and we do have summer work. That's something that, is different, but it's very manageable. Even that, if done, you're not talking about maybe 5 or 6 hours of work for the entire summer. That's something we've done historically, and it's necessary, particularly at the upper grades at the DP program, to have kids ready for what's to come. So that is the norm for us. She's standing over there grinning. She doesn't want to talk anymore, so I'm going to do her other slide. We do like to share this information because since the goal is for your student to get get into a 4-year university, it's really nice if someone else other than you pays for it. That would be my goal if I were you and had a child who was interested in college, because college is not getting less expensive, it's getting more expensive. Our students do very well. Last year we had 61. They did really well, because 61 students and $14.5 million in scholarships. And that's pretty typical for our kids. They always do quite well. They go all over the state. They go all over the country. I mean, you can read through those: Columbia, Tennessee, Mississippi State, West Point. We had a West Point last year, which was nice. Cornell. 100%. Oh, yeah. And 100% of our students are accepted into 4-year universities. So that is a very important piece as well. All right, it's Dr. Cloninger's time.
Thank you very much. So over the next 10 minutes, and we'll wrap up at 7:15, we're going to kind of bring it back full circle. And so let me say this before we look at that information. We are a Jefferson County school. We are a public school, and if you are zoned for Jefferson County, there's a $0 tuition fee for those students. However, we are simply an option in Jefferson County. I've had the opportunity to go to some 5th grade classrooms this year as well, and we always tell them that. If you are zoned for McAdory Middle School is going to give you wonderful, phenomenal learning opportunities. McAdory High School is going to have multiple pathways for your child to be successful if they have the right work ethic and the right attitude. JCIB is another one of those pathways. And with us, if they have the right work ethic and the right attitude, they're going to have the chance to be highly successful. Example, 61 students, $14.5 million. So as I said, when we get a student here and we get them at 11 years old, and who they are at 17 is not always who they are at 11, our goal is to keep them. We want our students to have high expectations for themselves, but sometimes they don't always have those expectations of themselves. So we, as administrators and coordinators and as parents, we work together to make sure they understand exactly what those expectations are. So when we get a student, we want to keep them. So if we have an 11-year-old sixth grader come in and they're struggling, our goal here is not to boot them out of there, right? Our goal is to work with that child to figure out what exactly is the issue here. And most unlikely, parents, is organization. They've always been the smartest one in their class, and they've never had to do homework, and they don't know how to do homework. Most of the time, those are the two things, and that's where we start. However, if we have a student who starts to struggle with their GPA and they get to below a 3.0 weighted GPA, meaning basically a C average, we're going to put them on academic probation. But what that means is that they get to work with a liaison to help identify what the issues are. Oh, we see that you're not turning in any homework. We're going to start there. We're going to make a schedule for when you get home on when you do homework. We also have access to our teachers for most of them before and sometimes after school. We'll talk about transportation in a little bit to address after school. We also have student groups and student organizations that work with students to help them. They've been in their shoes. So they work to help them identify the issues and help close those academic gaps because, again, we're bringing students from every school in Jefferson County, then also outside of the Jefferson County School District. And all of these different schools oftentimes have different expectations. So we try to rally the troops and get them all to the same playing field and then move them up. On the right side, and I deal with 9 out of 10 of these behaviors, we require exemplary behavior because we feel like students can't learn if they're not in an exemplary learning environment. Students aren't perfect, and middle schoolers will middle school. And right now, right before Thanksgiving break, they will middle school. And so when that happens, my philosophy, and I share this philosophy with Ms. Lightsey, is the best defense is a good offense. So flip the football thing. We try to reward and give recognition to students doing the right thing. So if you walk the hallways, you might see posters up that say, Turkey Bowl, for example. We have a Turkey Bowl this Friday, and I've had 5 students come to me today saying, please reconsider and let me go, right? Because they didn't meet whatever the expectation was. So when we have these good things that we can incentivize, it helps people who are thinking about making a bad choice not make a bad choice, and that's the goal. If we have students who are struggling with their behavior, I'm going to work with them. I'm going to try to be as restorative as possible. However, we can't let them disrupt the learning environment. Sometimes we have students who go on behavioral probation where they're working with the liaison to identify the root cause of the behavior. And that runs the gamut of why that happens. In rare occasions, we do have to dismiss students over behavior, but it's very rare. I mean, less than 1% of the student population that we have will be dismissed because of behavior. So again, let me close this out by saying the students that we receive, we try to keep them, and we hang on to them until we are no longer the best pathway forward for them. I'm not going to read all the little stuff, but let's just focus on knowledge and attitudes. And I think we've already said this. When our students come to us, the main thing that we are trying to develop, I would say look at the right side first, the attitude. Because good attitudes, they're better learners. We recognize that the students that we get are very, very smart, but being smart and having that intellectual curiosity also comes with a responsibility. I know plenty of people who are very smart who don't always use that to make the world a better place. They may use their brains to make someone feel inadequate. We work with our students when they come to us to take that knowledge, learn how to collaborate, learn how to work in groups, learn how to agree to disagree, which is a big one for middle schoolers and high schoolers and adults, and learn how to have those civic conversations in the academic setting so that it makes them a better, more equipped student, but also a better, more equipped, more prepared for the world individual. So there is an application process, and I will scoot over in case you want to get your phone out and take pictures. We are an application school, and this is the part where it can get a little bit tricky. So if you've dozed off on us, perk up. This is the part where you really need to listen. December 1st, the applications will be live on jeffcoed.com and also on JCIB's websites. If you forget that, you can also Google JCIB application, and it will come up. Now, if you Google it right now, you're probably going to see JCIB 2425 application. And that's not the one that you want. You want JCIB 25-26 application. So December 1, I don't know what time. It may be 8 a.m., it may be 8 p.m. We don't control that button. You're going to download it, and then there's going to be a series of parts that you have to complete. So if we start on the parent portion, that's going to be the easiest portion. The parents are going to complete a digital portion where they give all of their demographic information. So name, address, email, make sure you get the email correct. We used to do these handwritten, and we couldn't tell if that was an S or a 5 or whatever. So it's all digital. So you'll complete that part as the parent. Then there's a student portion. And the student portion is going to ask them to respond to some essay prompts. And I promise you, it's better if you just let them do it. You can look over their shoulder a little bit and say, you know, it has actually 2 S's in it if you want to. But we're not assessing them on their ability to spell program the way that we spell program. I promise you that. We want to hear from the student what they think, what they know, how they feel. It's going to say things like, tell us where you feel like you're the strongest in school, and tell us an area where you feel like you need to grow. Most students say math in the growth area, right? So that's the student portion. It will take a good weekend. I would carve out a Saturday to work on that. If we move to the right, you'll see the counselor and the teacher portion. So all of our students have to get teacher recommendations, and their current counselor has to complete, the counselor has to do most of this work here, because they're going to get us a series of information that's laid out in the application, including their current and historical grades, their current and historical discipline data, standardized test scores, attendance profile, and a few more things. They're going to get that information over to us. Here's why that's important. Because they're not going to hand it back to you to then hand to us. In the application, it's going to ask you if you would like to include a self-addressed stamped envelope. And the answer is yes, you want to do that. Because when we get your application packet, and we don't go through them immediately, but after a few weeks, a month, and we go through those applications, we're gonna see whether you have a completed application or not. And if you do not, and there's a self-addressed stamped envelope in there, we're gonna mark what we're missing and also let you know that, hey, we know it's February 14th and the deadline's closed, but we're letting you know that you still have time to get this back to us. So it doesn't punish a child for, someone else not doing something accurately, okay? There are sometimes cases where we have students who come from homeschools where you as the parent are the counselor. You have to get us that information. There are situations where we have homeschool or private school where you may not take a standardized test. You have to have a standardized test. And Dr. Miller is going to be the guru to talk about that after we conclude the whole group session. So at the end of that, the counselor completes the information. We send a letter back to you saying, thumbs up, we have it all, or thumbs down, we need a letter of recommendation from a science or math teacher, for example. And we'll give you time to get that to us. The application closes on Valentine's Day of 2000, what year is it right now? 24. Okay. 2025, February 14th, that application closes. Opens December the 1st of 24. Spring break, typically the Friday before, so if it's a yes or no, you can't reach us on the school phones because we're not here. We're going to send out a letter that says congratulations or unfortunately no. And part of being a risk taker, I'm talking to the students, but part of being a risk taker is putting that application out there even though you know you may not get in. We've had students who applied 2 and 3 times before they got that yes, who are with us right now and who are very successful with us, okay? So don't let that deter you from putting that application in, but you will get a letter in the mail the week of spring break on that decision, okay? I've said this, but if you are a Jefferson County student zoned for a Jefferson County school, there's a $0 charge to come to JCIB. If you are out of district, there's a $2,200 per year charge to go to JCIB, and that's true for the middle school or the high school. There are some situations where you live in Jefferson County, but you don't go to a Jefferson County school, and sometimes parents don't know the difference. So, for example, if you go to Hoover's in Jefferson County, most of it anyway, but they're not a Jefferson County school. They're a Hoover City school. If you live in Mountain Brook, Vestavia, Homewood, Tarrant, Birmingham City, Bessemer City, and there's several districts that are geographically in Jefferson County but not a part of the Jefferson County School District, those students would have to pay a tuition charge to go to JCIB. So as I said, December 1st, the application opens. February the 14th, 2025, it closes. That application is open for all students incoming 6th grade through 11th grade, and those application packets are going to be available at jeffcoed.com and JCIB and both of JCIB's websites.
Thank you, Dr. Cloninger. Three things that I should put on a slide, and I just don't do it. Transportation, that's something that people are wondering about probably. We have hubs around the county where you take your student and they ride the bus. So for example, if you're in Adamsville, we have a bus hub in Adamsville at the Dollar Tree or the Dollar Store. We have another spot it's Adamsville and it's Forestdale. We have spots in Pinson and Clay and McAdory and Hueytown. We have one in Hoover. They're just all over the county. And if you're accepted, we'll share those locations with you. They've not changed in 10 years or so. So they're pretty stable locations. We know they're going to be there. The time may change slightly, but the place usually remains the same unless someone asks us to leave, which hasn't happened so far. So we're lucky with that. So we don't have door-to-door bus pickup. Someone has to get the child to the spot in the morning and has to be there to pick them up in the afternoon. So that's important to know. Sports. Sports is it's going to be different when we get on our own campus. But right now we have kids here at the middle school. If they want to play a sport, they can go to their base school and play. At the high school, if they want to play a sport, they play with Shades Valley. When we're on our own campus, that's not going to be true anymore. Once you're on your own campus and you have sports, kids can't go to other schools to play sports. And we do have sports. It's just not the big sports like football, baseball, basketball. Our kids, we have huge teams that run cross country, track. We have a big bowling team, girls and boys. They love bowling. We also have swimmers. We have tennis players. We've had golf. It's not as popular right now as it used to be. There are esports. We have a number of students who play on soccer teams, who play volleyball, and I imagine when we get to our own campus, we'll have those. When the district planned for our school to be built 10 years ago, they're building us a building, but there are no sports facilities being built with us. There's no fields being built for our kids because honestly, at the high school, out of 330 students, I think we may have about 25 that participate in a sport, and that's not a very big percentage. So that's the way sports will work. Third thing we didn't talk much about is clubs. Did we talk about clubs? Clubs. Here at the middle school, because we don't have sports, our kids are interested in a lot of different things. They like clubs that are areas of interest for them. So we have, if you walked through, you saw we have a big robotics club. We have engineering club. We have a big and growing theater department. The kids do a great job on 2 plays each year. We also have a clay club where they actually use wheels to throw clay. We have, I don't know, there's like 12 or 15 of the clubs. It's crazy. Science Olympiad, math team, all the normal things plus some extras. So we know that we don't have the sports, so we make sure to provide other things for the kids to take part in so that they have an opportunity to be with their friends in a more social environment and enjoy doing something that they all love together. So that is something that it's a high priority for us. I think that's it. We want to thank those people who joined us through the live stream. We appreciate you dropping in from your home on your couch. These people actually came out and we appreciate it, but if you couldn't, live streaming and webinar is wonderful. We'll have, if you missed anything or you have a friend who missed us, we'll also have one last webinar on January the 9th. It's a virtual webinar on January the 9th. So if you guys will stick for a minute, we'll take questions, and we'll say good night to those people through the live stream. Thank you.
Thank you.